or perspective with regards to Nigerians who've come to live in South Africa is really a bad one because of what we've seen with our fellow sisters who are here. So most of the time when a Nigerian come here, we or I were under the impression that they are rich or they have money because they have all the things in the world. So what we do as girls here in South Africa, when a Nigerian guy comes to you and approaches you, you're very willing to take them on because you're like, I'm going to live this lavish life I've been dreaming about. But then now, when we listen to this podcast about girls who share their experiences with Nigerian men, it's very scary. And I have been very wary of Nigerian men. I'm scared of Nigerian men. I don't know why. Because you would hear stories such as like, no, they come here, they sleep with you to get your luck, they feed on you like you never be anything in life. They have snakes apparently. So, and I'm someone who's scared of snakes, so I can't risk that. So I think my perspective on Nigerian guys is mostly based on what people had to say. I've never had a one-on-one encounter with a Nigerian person, either a girl or a boy.
So what did they say about Nigerian men? What did they say about Nigerian men?
So okay, one of the common stories, you meet a Nigerian men, those clubs, so you meet them at night and then they were like, we call them shellari. So they caught you and then you accept them. And then they will call you, maybe like a week later, they call you to their house and they're like, you need to do, okay, most of the time they'll be like, you need to sleep with me, but we'll have like lights off. So you'll feel something strange, but don't be afraid. So most of the time, apparently that's the snake sleeping with you. And then when you leave, you now grow things that you don't know, like on your private parts. Because I remember we had this story with this girl who had grown a cauliflower. I don't know the name of the thing, but they called it a cauliflower. It grew on her private part, and they said it's because she was sleeping with Nigerian men. So here in South Africa we call it ukutwasa. So it means it's a ritual that people perform on other people in order to have money, in order to be successful. So yes.
So what about the perception about South Africans and Nigeria?
How?
The perception of South Africa, society South Africa.
Yes.
About Nigeria.
Okay, so the perception mostly is based on men from South Africa. South African men hate Nigerian men because they even say, these people came to steal our women here because we don't have money. I remember I was watching this other podcast where they had like Nigerian people, they had 2 Nigerian men. And these Nigerian men were like, we don't have money, but because we come here to South Africa, girls from South Africa are under this an illusion that we have money. So it's very easy to get a girl. You get a girl, give her 500 and she'll think there's more to come, else there's nothing. So South Africans are very, with regards to men hate Nigerian men, but with regards to women, we are for Nigerian men.
Okay, my name is Ayola Dingiswayo, and okay, so the first question is my personal view of the Nigerians and South Africa, and yeah, so and like with the stigma around Nigerian people in our country. So I always say this. It's fortunate enough that I have many views in our politics, and I often express myself. So I usually say that there's no South African man, there's no Nigerian man who is from Nigeria who knows Joburg. There's no Nigerian man who knows Eastern Cape. There's no Nigerian man who knows a corner on Soweto where they can sell drugs. However, our people in South Africa, they know the streets, they know how you go around, and they know how you move around, they know who do you talk to. So I often say the crime that are committed by Nigerian people in our country, they're always through South African people, because these people, they know the streets of our country. So it's unfortunate that I have to go against everyone and say we have to deal with our people first, because every crime through that is done by Nigeria, done by people from African countries and like outside our continent as well. They are true South African people, because they know the police, they know who to talk to, they know how to get away with these things. Because another problem we're facing is that how do these people get away with them? How does a person come with a lot of drugs from Nigeria and just get through the Tambo airport and like just be able to sell them in our countries, in our societies? How can they do that? So I feel like we have to deal with that first with our people and our laws as well. I mean, our officials as well. I mean, then we deal about the drugs in our country. I mean, the second question is the perspective of society around this issue. It's unfortunate that our people, our minds are still colonized to an extent that we're scared of holding people accountable. We're so scared of saying, actually, this is what's happening. We're so scared of going out and saying, but what happened to that police who let that, who took a bribe from that person? We're so scared of holding our officials accountable. And it's unfortunate that our societies, they still there. They still often feel like it is wrong, you can't do it. So their perspective on all of this, Nigerian people or like just African people, they're taking our things as a country. Whereas also the issue is that people read about this through TikTok. They see the news through TikTok, they see the news through Facebook, through Instagram, which is whichever, if you're popular, and then it means your perspective is going to go through, because now you all of a sudden popular, and now people often like they get influence from that. And I always say I can't argue politics from TikTok, I can't argue the issues of our country from Instagram, because whatever is said there, it's just so influenced, and it's often just so wrong.
Okay, my name is Tim Sunduli. I'm doing my master's in commercial law here at UJ, and I'm also working. Is it working? I'm also a tutor. I tutor first years law, first years introduction to legal studies. So my perception about Nigerians in South Africa in general, I think they're hardworking people and they are always looking for innovative ways to make money, even though, and that's why in South Africa you'll find out there's what do you call it? We call it, a lot of people are using drugs, and that's why you might find some Nigerians there, because there is a market. So that's like, according to me, that's an innovative way to make money, because there is a market. And what else? I have friends who are Nigerians, so I have had a good encounters with them, obviously, because we are best friends. Then the public in general, I think, as we said, I think Nigerians are just what is they had the what is it a misfortune? Because I think they are what unites South Africans. When South Africans are not hating, like fighting Nigerians, then we have our own division. So I think they just were the ones that will, I wouldn't say lucky, because it's not a good thing how South Africans treat them, but I just think there are people that South Africans blame for everything that's going wrong. There's unemployment, they will say Nigerians are taking jobs. There's drugs, they will say Nigerians are selling drugs. There's crime, they will blame it on Nigerians, but they don't pay attention to things that lead to Nigerians having the space or the platform to get those jobs. They wouldn't do certain jobs, but once they are available to Nigerians, they'll be like, Nigerians are taking our jobs. But definitely the poster was there for them to go and apply for that job, but they did not, and then Nigerians. So I think Nigerians in general are just the people that unite South Africans, even though sometimes, and I think that when something is done by a Nigerian, it's reported widely, because even a South African can be caught abroad selling drugs, our media won't report it like that. But if it's a Nigerian, then you go on Twitter, you'll find a lot of people reposting it, having opinions about it. But if it's a South African, obviously it might be reported here and there, but it won't gain attention like when it's a Nigerian. So I think, yeah, they are good people according to my opinion, but just that in South Africa, in South Africa's eyes, they are not. Yeah.
I'm tasked to actually give my own perception about our brothers and sisters in Nigeria. So I have two perceptions. So this will be my own personal perception about Nigerians, and the second perception will be around the perceptions of Nigerians in the scale of South Africa. So with my personal I do have a personal experience when it comes to like interacting with my Nigerian brothers and sisters, because at Raise we are a combination of different people from different countries and all of that. I think they are the most talkative people. They talk a lot, to be honest. You will try to get one idea across your mind, then the next thing they talk about something else. So I feel like they are so talkative and they are so smart. One thing about our Nigerian brothers is that they are very smart, and also business-minded people as well. So I know them from an academic perspective because I know that they do well when it comes to academia. And then when it comes to the general perception of our Nigerian brothers and sisters at the South African scale, obviously it's not a pleasant one, because I won't speak for the rest of South Africa, unfortunately, but because of perceptions that are circulating or rather disseminated in the media, especially Twitter. They are not that pleasing and all of that. So I won't really speak about. I won't really speak on behalf of the rest of South Africa, but I assume that a lot of people have been, following the Chichidima story and all of that, and it wasn't really pleasant, but from my perspective, I think they are like smart people and they're very talkative. Very talkative, like this guy who's interviewing me right now. But I mean, they are very welcoming. Every time when you greet them, they always say, "You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome." So they are very friendly people, and that's my perception. Thank you.
Describe my perception on Nigerian people, and I would say that most people fear the unknown, which is something that we have to do. I've lived with a lot of, sir, can we?
Go ahead.
We can.
Don't worry,
Okay.
I'm going to edit it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Let's go.
I was called upon here to have an interview on my perception on Nigerian people. I would say that having to have lived with them on the student accommodations provided by the University of Johannesburg, I can say that Nigerian people are not how they are painted to be on the street. I can say that there are people of tenacity, people that are hardworking. They have a lot of discipline, which I have learned from them, and I've learned to apply their principles into my everyday life, because I've realized that the good Nigerian people are morally encompassed. Good Nigerian people are morally encompassed, but now having to have interacted with people on a friendship and family level, I've noticed that they've said that people that come to South Africa and have a bad name on the streets, as we know it to be in the media, is that they are the bad apples that come from Nigeria and taint the good name that the Nigerian people have established for themselves. So I would say that people that you see on the street and the people that you come to live together with and learn from are two different people. Like there is to life, the good and bad. And we just happen to have the bad apples from Nigeria tainting the good image that the people of Nigeria have established for themselves.
Right. So, what fuels the perception you have about Nigerians, and what other things do you think fuel the perception that other people have about Nigerians?
I will also go back to the fear of the unknown. If you think about what you consume from social media, it's just that. But if you get to sit down with people and get to understand and learn through conversation, you learn to understand that it's not Nigerian people that are bad. It's the bad apples that give them that name, that they are bad people. But in general, just like any other nation, you have good and bad people.
Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate.
Thank you, sir.
So it almost seems as if every crime committed in this land is blamed on Nigerians. But is that really true?
Of the 262 sentenced natural persons, 173 are South Africans, while 77 are foreign nationals. The top sentenced foreign nationals are 27 Zimbabweans, Lesotho with 14 convicts, Mozambique with 10 convicts. The rest are divided among the other countries.